So, Mark, not to talk about him again, but did you see what Mattress Mac did when he went and collected his winnings in Las Vegas? He picked up $10 million at Aria and he put it in a wheelbarrow and he wheeled it himself onto the plane. Pretty cool.
Yeah. I mean, he looked like he was struggle busting it a bit, carrying, because money's not the lightest thing, and he's a bit older, so it looked like he was struggling with it. It just seems weird. Like, you think they'd just give you a check or whatever, but I'm sure he wanted it for the fun of it and to load it up to your plane. I don't know, making a big spectacle of it, probably not the smartest. If people, and we'll talk about this in a little bit, people hopping in cabs after a robbery, it seems like it would have been easier to go after his stuff.
Yeah, but who else can say that they wheeled a barrel full of $10 million onto a plane? Yeah, he was struggling, but no doubt it was a good time
Now,
once they got on board.
I've been thinking about this for like a week or two. If you won all this, I know you're supposed to pay customers back. Wouldn't you just be like, see ya, $72 million. I'm going somewhere, liquidate my stores, whatever, pay people with that money, but I'm going to take this and go. Like, what?
Maybe he took his private plane and flew off to another country.
True.
Mark, so let's talk about that Resorts World robbery. This was not covered, I don't think, in the local news at all. Maybe if it was sort of on the down low. I was searching for it today. We saw it out of KTLA, I think, in LA. Somebody takes a taxi to Resorts World, strolls into the to the cage, hands them a note, robs the cage, gets back in the same taxi, and drives away. They don't know where he is. They don't know who he is. They did find the taxi driver, who didn't really know who the guy was. Just another night in Vegas, I guess.
Wonder if he tipped him really well. Like, here's a couple $100. Thanks for the ride. But this is kind of a sad thing to see, of how news stations are in the pockets of, casinos, and this goes on everywhere, not just Vegas. Like, if it's a big travel destination, they won't talk about some things like people jumping and stuff like that, which is kind of sad because it needs to be covered. Like, it's a problem, and this is a robbery. I know you don't want to like promote other people robbing stuff, but it should be covered, and it's kind of crazy that it's not. But how do they, with all the cameras and everything, how does somebody walk in, give the note, walk out with a bag, doesn't get security on them, gets in a cab, which, it's not like it's ready to go. Like, you have to go to the cab line, get it. It just seems like Resorts World really, do they have security?
I think he used the same taxi. That's what I got based on the article. So he had the taxi waiting for him, so as like a getaway car.
Okay. Like saying, I gotta go cash in some chips, just stay here, I'll be right back.
Yeah, so I'm guessing by the time the cage hit the panic button or whatever, he was already out the door, he was already on his way out the door, and they couldn't get there fast enough. The strange thing is they haven't been able to find him. Obviously, I'm sure they have surveillance video of him, so I'm sure they're looking for him, but it's crazy. There are robberies at these cages all the time. There's usually armed robberies, and often people get away with them. That's the crazy thing. That's probably why they don't want it on the news. It's strange. You would think a casino is Fort Knox, but it's not Ocean's 11. Pretty easy to get in there.
Yeah, I wonder what that note said. Like, how good is that note that you just give it up and don't, I know it's not the employee's money. You don't want them to get hurt over, a corporation's money that's probably insured for all this type of stuff. But, when you second guess it, like, okay, he says what's this note say? Oh, excuse me, ma'am, can you put $5 million in a bag, please? I'd like it. Thank you very much.
Yeah, we don't know how much he took. There's still a lot that they're not releasing. So hopefully they find him. Just a reminder to be safe.
Ocean's 14, a guy one of the 14 just walks in, grabs the money, hops in a cab and leaves. And they're like, whoa, okay, that works.
Yeah, they're busy spending months doing this elaborate plan, and one of them just walks in the casino's like, here it is. 5-minute movie, quickest movie ever. There you go. All right, so we have to talk about Formula One again, just for a brief second, because MGM shocked us all with this Bellagio grandstand thing that they're building out in front of the Bellagio fountains. We had always thought that you were going to have these great visuals of the cars going down the strip with the fountains behind them, but now you're going to have this like crazy grandstand. I think it looks pretty good. I mean, I think it looks like it's pretty high quality, but no doubt this is going to be for MGM's big players. They're selling packages to sit there. This is separate from the Formula One tickets that went on sale. So buy or sell? Do you like this grandstand idea? Is this going to ruin everything?
I mean, the dollar talks, right? I can't blame them. If I had front street property, like, I'm going to try to make money off of it, especially with how crazy some of these tickets are going for. Like, $1 million packages are out there. To have it on the recording, would you give up all that money, hundreds of thousands of dollars, maybe millions, It's just so you can see the fountains. Maybe that draws more people in to visit your place. But everybody knows what Bellagio is and the fountains, so I don't think that that's a really big sell. Like if it was just built, maybe I could see them having that argument, but since it's been around, I don't like it personally. I'd rather see the fountains on the fountains on the show when you're watching the race and everything, but I can't blame them. Plus, it blocks people just walking down the street from stopping and watching, so I'm surprised Formula One didn't try to do this from the start.
So this is the one big takeaway I had of that, is that if you're not going to see the race and you don't have tickets, it's going to be an absolute mess to walk around Las Vegas. We know there's going to be a lot of people.
As I've called.
Yeah, I mean, we know there's going to be a lot of people. It'll be a mess anyway, but now you're seeing sidewalks are going to be closed. It is interesting because the east side of the strip is going to be closed off. So there'll be, I guess, pedestrian areas in there. Not quite sure how that's all going to work because they're driving on the west side of the strip as far as the course. So it's just going to be a madhouse. As you point out, they're closing it off for pedestrians. I don't blame MGM for doing the money. And the fountains in their videos and stuff, they do go high over the thing. So you'll be able to see a little bit of the fountains. But this is a way for them to get their high rollers here, bring people into the casino. So it's smart business, I think. And at least it looks nice. The one question people had was whether they're going to cut down the trees. There's a bunch of trees there on the sidewalk. I'm guessing they're going to figure out a way to build this over the trees. Just a guess. We don't really know. But I can't imagine they're going to actually ruin permanently that frontage, with the visual and everything else by taking out trees and stuff like that. But I wonder what everybody out there thinks, because I know I saw on Twitter tons of people not happy about this. Others understand it. So let us know in the comments what you guys think about this Bellagio thing.
Built stands in the fountains, and that would have been awesome.
Well, this is over the fountains, so it is over the fountains. So there you go.
No, like
and by
right
the way,
in the middle.
And by the way, if your seat is like towards the back, you're gonna get wet. I mean, that's the other thing about this.
Hey, it's like Le Rev, back in life.
Yep, you got the splash zone. Those are the most expensive ones. All right, so let's talk about Wynn, since you brought up Le Rev. And more news about things we've been covering lately. We've covered the saga with Cosmo sort of banning filming on the casino floor, or I don't know, they had officially always banned filming but allowed you to film your slots. Then they didn't. Now they are doing it again as long as it's like handheld. And now Wynn has chimed in. Too many streamers, too many influencers. Wynn bans filming, not even allowed to film your own play. So I'm kind of glad that we're finally getting official policies on this stuff, because the official policies have always been no filming. And yet they've allowed it as, social media has taken on. So at least we're getting stuff in writing, and I think that makes it easier for people to choose where to go.
Yeah, I don't know if this will last long term. People, it will go in waves. Like they'll shut down, then people will complain, and they'll open back up. Like Cosmo kind of backed off their stance, and I understand if they're trying to cut down on the tripods, like we talked about last week, and stuff like that, like actual physical things being in the way of other people. And I do understand sometimes people getting upset about other people filming them, especially if they're not supposed to be down there, promise their wife or husband that they wouldn't sit at the thing. You don't want that blowing up on social media and then being like, hey, what were you doing there? So I get that aspect of it, but I don't think this sticks around long term. I think they'll just do like most casinos will allow you to film your own stuff handheld type of thing.
Yeah, Wynn is a bit of a different cat, right? I mean, they have very high-end players. They have more of an Asian, Chinese vibe to their whole product, just because they're so heavily invested in Macau. And, that version of gambling is a little bit different. So I think they just take things a little bit more serious there. To the people who say they don't want to be on film when they're like in a casino or in public anymore, everybody has a cell phone. So whether there's a rule against filming or not, people are going to film you. So don't go to a crowded casino if you don't want to end up on social media. That's just my thing. So yeah, I'm happy with this. I did want to say shout out to JR Food and Travels, our friends over there. They're the ones who broke this on Twitter, and they do great work over there. So check them out for that. But yeah, bad news on the filming front if you like to do that. I'm sure all those Wynn high rollers will go somewhere else, or Wynn will just make a deal with them and allow them to film the really big channels.
Yeah, they don't want to lose that business, so they'll do something if it becomes a problem, but we'll see. I've never really gambled at Wynn because it did seem too stuffy for me. So not my scene. Not my cup of tea.
Well, your scene now. Let's switch to your scene, which is hanging out on pedestrian bridges, making trouble.
Yes.
No, I'm just kidding.
I sell water every weekend. After I lose all my money, I just sit there selling cold water.
Hey, you got to make a living somehow. So I think you should actually consider just taking pictures with people. You would do pretty well out there, I think.
There we go.
So One thing that's been a huge issue is the pedestrians, right? People hanging out, whether it's playing music, trying to sell stuff, whatever, on the pedestrian bridges. And, the city, I think, had tried to pass something making it illegal to stand on the pedestrian bridges, allowing the police to enforce that. But now they're just trying to put stickers on the ground that say, move it along. So I think this is a good thing. I mean, hopefully it's a good reminder to people, like, move it along. Like,
they had to do something with those social distancing spots, so let's just put another sticker on top.
Yeah, they had the circle already there. They're like, this looks terrible. Let's just find something else to...
Those are looking pretty scuffed up. Let's put a new sticker that nobody will pay attention to. Cool. Yeah, I don't know. This isn't going to do anything. If they don't have a law in place, I don't think it will change anything. That had to be enforced. We're like on Fremont Street, they have it. It's a law. They have to stay in the circle or whatever. It's enforced. So it works there, unless there's something to enforce this with. It's just paper mache. Like, I don't know. It's decorations. It does look Christmassy, so they put it in the right time of the year. There you go.
Yeah, I mean, I think, to your point, the people who are hanging out on the bridges aren't the people who are going to listen to a sticker. The other people, people might stop and take a picture or something like that, but people aren't, spending their days and nights up there. So, yeah, it's a strange thing, but hopefully this helps move it along. But so many people hanging out on those bridges. Some of them are really, really not very pleasant to cross anymore. Others are okay. So whatever they can do to make them a little bit better, I say go for it. All right. And last thing, Mark, the world's largest hot tub party coming to Circa. So this is a very interesting way for them to brand Stadium Swim because, as we know, it's open all winter long. They heat the pools, I think, to 92 degrees.
Said, heated with urine.
No, that's in the summer, Mark. That keeps them extra warm when it's busy. In the winter, they actually just use the heaters because there's not enough people out there to keep that temperature up. But they're doing these theme parties. So there's like an 80s themed party. There's a couple other ones. General admission from like $15. It said $20 on their site, but for the 80s party, I saw general admission at $15, which that's pretty cheap. That's as cheap as it ever is. And you're going to have like Instagrammable place, like a Instagram wall or a photo opportunity. They're going to have like special alcohol and drinks and like a ski chalet set up. So I mean, they're a good way to bring people into that pool complex, which, by the way, I think that's the best time to visit. That's when I visited. It's very nice. It's cool outside, warm in the pools, and a lot less people.
Yeah, and they said they're going to have robes for everybody, which I'm sure is going to be costly. So that'll be interesting. And I wonder what the servers are going to wear and stuff. I'm sure it'll be like festive and kind of fun. Normally they're in bikinis. You can't do that in the winter. So I'm curious to see what they kind of come up with to fit into this theme. But yeah, it's a good idea. I mean, Circa comes up with the best promos, I think, in Vegas as far as, the way they set up things and encourage people to come and in these packages that they put together. I think it's pretty unique, and they really show off their best areas. And this is one of their best areas is Stadium Swim. So I think it's a good thing. I definitely would check it out if I was in town, especially if it's $15. Why not? And they have unique drinks that they're only having there and a whole bunch of stuff. They're not just like, hey, come, our pools are heated, come check it out. Like, they're actually putting in some effort into it. So that's pretty cool.
Yeah, and I checked out the prices for all of the things from cabanas to day beds. It all seems pretty much in line with what they normally charge. It's a minimum spend, things like that. So you can
find a fire pit next to
it. Yeah, exactly. You're going to want to stay warm. So that's the one thing. If it gets windy or something, that's when we visited. It was so windy. It was brutally cold outside, but the pools were really nice. So, and we got a free cabana because the wind was crazy. So who knows what'll happen, but these parties looking good. And like I said, this is a brilliant way for Circa to kind of market what they already have and also play into their whole fact that they're this, party kind of, I don't know, bro-like kind of place, right? Come and have these big parties, these hot
sausage
tub
fest
parties.
In the winter. Yeah.
The world's largest winter sausage fest coming to downtown Las Vegas very, very soon.
Eat your sausages in our hot tubs. Let's go.
So later this week, we have 2 shows a week. We release another one on Friday. I'll talk about South Point. I just went there. I know we talked a little bit about the history of Michael Gaughan and stuff. Went to the South Point, had a little old school stuff there. It was fun. The buffet line was crazy. We'll talk all about that on Thursday's show. As a reminder, if you like the show, don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Hit that notification bell so you receive notifications of all of our videos. As I said, we do 2 videos a week. And most importantly, we want to talk to you guys. Let us know what you guys think about now Wynn with banning the filming, the Formula One, Bellagio grandstand, all the stuff we talked about on the show. Hit me up in the comments.
Resorts World can't afford to lose any more money. Quit stealing from them, please.
Yes, please. Leave Resorts World alone.
Go to Virgin, bankrupt that place.
God, don't do that. All right. Thanks so much for watching. Talk to you next time.
See you on Friday.